Beautiful. Hey everyone, this is Chris Liepe.
How's it going?
I'm David Walleman. Today we're going to talk about
ear training,
the most important organ. That's coming up.
So what do you hear in your head when you play?
Well, that's a really good question. And usually I hear what's coming next as I'm playing.
So you, in your ear, or maybe not in your actual ear, there's earwax in your ear, but...
The inner ear.
The head. In your head, your mind's ear, you hear what you're going to play next.
I usually do.
And at the same time, are you visualizing, or is it more of just an ear thing?
I think at this point, it's more of an ear thing.
Yeah.
But there is an aspect of visualization too.
Right.
When you're playing.
Right. I would agree with that. I don't initially see anything. My ear is telling me, "Ooh, I want to go there."
Yeah.
And then there's this short amount of time where maybe or maybe not it comes out like I intended it to.
Yeah. I think it's very much like an author who's writing a book. The author knows where he's going with the book, and it just kind of flows out. Yeah. But if he wants, the author can take every word and spell them out.
Yeah.
As guitar players, we're kind of hearing hopefully where the story is going, what do we want to say, but at any given point we can kind of like switch our thoughts to the more tactical approach, the shape thing, and it's kind of a balance, like you were saying.
Sure.
And I think what we should do is maybe teach people or teach each other too, like how to enhance that ability to, switch from one to the other. And I think it all starts with ear training, what you're hearing.
Right. And
how to apply it to the instrument.
What I did for years, I started on piano. And so I had a little bit of ear training in theory before going to guitar, and I'm not good at the piano. But when I really got into guitar, to me it was all about what can I play? Can I focus on my technique? Can I learn this song? And I think that a lot of guitar players start that way or are that way, and maybe because it did for me, don't think too much about can I really improve on the instrument without having my guitar in my hand at all. It's about learning, having the music be in your head and be a part of you. And something happened to me that forced me to do that. In all my obsessive practicing, I gave myself nerve damage in my elbow, and I had to take nearly a year off.
Really?
And it wasn't until I couldn't play, I still liked music, what can I do? So I bought some college music theory book at a used bookstore, and just started reading it. And that is where I fell in love with studying the major scale.
And I think it all starts with that. Whether you're a guitar player or a singer or whatever else, the major scale is, first of all, why the major scale? I think the reason is that it's so embedded in our beings. You hear it everywhere, like da 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 da. It sounds very melodious, and there's nothing surprising about that.
No.
Right?
Right.
But the cool thing is that within that major scale, we have a series of intervals, the distance between two notes, that are either major or perfect. And any interval could be major or perfect. As a matter of fact, any interval could be major or minor except for the fourth and the fifth. Those are the middle ones, right? Those are perfect. But if you can have that major scale, da-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum, you could just count any of the numbers, any of the intervals, and modify it to make it something that's not. Like a major interval can become minor, a perfect can be diminished, augmented.
Right.
So maybe we should start by just defining things a little bit, like major, minor.
Right.
Let's start with that.
Right. And you did something very key that maybe not a lot of people have thought about learning, and that is you just sang the major scale. And I think maybe you started on an E because we were playing an E.
Possibly.
Yeah, you were pretty close. But it's an extremely valuable thing to be able to pick a note and sing the major scale, and pick a note and be able to pick intervals within the major scale. So by the end of this video, That's what we want you guys to be able to do, is have the tools necessary to get that major scale stuck in your head so that you don't even have to play in order to hear the difference between two different intervals, between two different notes.
Yep. Well, let's see. What you said is good. I don't know if we should start with the guitar or with the voice, and they should be connected anyways.
Maybe the voice.
Maybe the voice. I think that's a good idea.
So I'll put my guitar down.
Yep. And that's actually a very, very good lesson, because I think I say that all the time. Like, people ask me, how do you improvise? Start with your guitar down, because if you didn't, you'd be tempted to do this, to hold it, even not play. And as soon as this happens, but as soon as this happens, this does something in our brain. We start to think like a guitar player.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to do the same thing. That's good. And let's start with the major scale, and then we'll get into defining like major and minor a little bit, which is really, really important. The major scale has 7 notes, and any scale, or actually any musical element, in order to be something, needs a reference point, like something that you can measure that note.
Where we land.
Yeah, where we land or where we start, like the foundation. And
so we could just choose, we're not playing guitar, we just choose,
So everything I sing, ba, would be attracted to what you're saying. Ba, da, da, ba, ba. And that's what creates, chords and and melody and all that.
Right.
So what you're doing, you're establishing that root.
Yes.
And that's the root.
Yes, that's the root. And anything above that, we're just going to deal with above for the purposes of this video for now.
Yep.
But yeah, anything above that would be one of these intervals that if you can name, you can put a name to it while you're not playing, then when you go to play, for example, when you're listening to a song that you need to learn, you can figure out portions of that song without even picking up your guitar.
Absolutely.
If you are reacting to a backing track and you want to improvise, you can come up with the scales necessary to be successful over that backing track just with your voice.
If you're playing a gig and you forgot the next part, just use that and make it up, and nobody would know.
Right. So now what we'll do is I'll just throw out a couple tonics. And there are a couple ones, a couple homes.
Yep.
And you'll harmonize with me. And you'll number them.
Yep.
Okay. So 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what happened here on that last note, it was pretty much equal. That's called an octave.
Right.
So whatever note you're playing, A, B flat, I don't have perfect pitch, I don't know.
It's relative.
Yeah. Whatever I was singing had the same name than your root, and that's the octave.
Now this drill, you should find someone and do this. This is actually extremely difficult because the person holding the 1 and listening to the guy singing the other notes in the major scale, they're going to want to follow that.
Yeah.
And then this guy that's doing the singing is responsible for listening to this guy. And so if I'm wavering in pitch and you're trying to sing intervals over that, it could potentially be quite, it could make for a lot of laughs.
As a matter of fact, do you want to switch off? Should I take a root?
Okay, sure.
Okay. I'll try to change it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1.
Good. Yeah.
Very good. And that was the major scale, and there's just no surprise. And I think that's step number 1, be able to sing that major scale.
Right.
Which you hear everywhere.
And step number 2 would be to break down those intervals, those familiar intervals in the major scale, and sing them apart from the sequence.
Yep.
So if you start with 1, which is a different one than we had last time, but
which is good.
1, and then you could say 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, 7, 1, 7, doing stuff like that. And then once you can do that, you'll start hearing those intervals jump out in melodies, or in bass lines when you're trying to figure out chord progressions. Like, oh, that's a distance of 1, And really, there's a lot of different tricks that you can, figure out songs that how these intervals and put them in your head. But really, the best way to do it is exactly what we're doing right here. Have someone establish a tonic or a 1, and switch off singing these intervals, naming them, and building them into your head, and doing it without your guitar. Then, once you have done this with your voice, then go to the guitar and try the same thing with maybe even just one pattern.
Yeah.
But that might be for a different video. So let's trade off.
Okay.
So you want to be one, or you want me to be one?
I'll let you be one.
I'll be one. Okay. 1,
2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 8.
Cool.
Let's trade off.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's try that. This is a really good exercise for everyone. Okay, here's your one. 1.
Five, 6, 5, 7. You can take a breath now. 8, 7, 8, 2, or 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We should bracket what we just did by saying you don't have to be a singer to do this. You, in fact, especially if you don't consider yourself to be a singer, you should do this. Because the advantage that someone who sings, even if they're not a singer, has, is that they're able to connect their mind with their ear with something that's always with them, their voice. And so it makes this natural progression of, okay, I've got the ear, the mind, and the voice connected. Now I've got my fingers ready.
That's a really good point. And what we'll do later on is pick up the guitar and try that mental exercise and transcribe that on the guitar so that it doesn't sound like someone who doesn't know how to sing.
Sure.
Your guitar is your voice, but it starts here. And before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the nature of those intervals. So we said that in the major scale, we have 7 intervals, and they're all major or perfect. And if you want to change the nature of one of those intervals, all you need to do is change the pitch of that interval a half step. And on the guitar, that's just 1 fret, so that'll be easier later on. But you need to know that major interval is always wider than a minor one, and perfect interval is just perfect, and you can make it diminished, smaller, or augmented, wider. But let's just talk about major and minor. So since that major scale is only made of major intervals, I'm going to land on one of those major intervals and make it minor by moving that pitch. So go ahead, pick a root. Give me a root.
1.
And I'll pick the third. 1, 2, 3. That's major. If I want to make that 3 minor, 3, B, D. That's a minor third. It's still within the 3 realm. 1, 2, 3. Minor, major, sad. Yeah. And we can do that with any of the major intervals. So again, any interval of the major scale is major or perfect.
And the major ones, or the ones that can be tweaked to be major or minor, would be the 2, the 3, the 6, and the 7.
Exactly.
And those are the ones we're primarily talking about.
Yeah. So why don't you let me hear a major 6th.
Okay.
So what goes on in your mind to reach that major 6th, and then make it minor over this note. Ba. That'd be the major, then minor. Nice, and you did that on the spot.
Yeah.
But in order to get to that point, I'm sure when you started, you probably did all the steps, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
And that's probably where people should start with if you're not used to that.
If you can sing the major scale in sequence, then you can do that, and then after a while, it's going to happen. It's going to happen faster.
Yeah,
it'll just happen
absolutely.
faster and faster.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really interesting how that happy sad. I mean, it
always
there.
works. Yeah.
Yeah. So try another one.
Okay.
I'll sing one, and you go to. You want to do the 7th?
I'll do the 7th.
Because we already did the 3rd.
Yep.
Okay. 1.
La minor 7th, major 7th.
They're both a little. Well, I actually think the minor 7 is less dissonant.
Yeah, I do
than the
too.
Major 7.
I do too.
But they're both fun.
Yeah.
So and I guess we have to do the 2 now.
Let's do the 2. So here's your root. You'll start with a major 2 and then a minor 2. Ba. And And that's used in scoring a lot. A cluster
Yeah.
of notes where you have two or more notes
Yeah.
that are very, very close.
Well, and with
Very
those
tensed.
with those notes in particular, right? You get this warble, and you especially hear it on the guitar, but you could hear it even with the voice. It's like this thing starts vibrating in your
Yeah,
head. You
yeah.
know, so do that again.
It does.
Yeah. So to me, it's close. That's the one way you can really hear that one. But it's the most unsettling sound anywhere in the whole major scale theory thing.
I agree,
You
yeah.
You take that second, you lower it, and you got those two close notes. It's ugly.
It is, yeah.
So-
but very useful sometimes.
Okay, so let's pick up the guitars.
Sounds good.
And we're going to use...
It should sound better
Yeah,
for me as far as
hopefully.
this
Okay.
part goes.
So we'll just take an octave of C right here.
Yep.
So here's the shape. 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5.
Okay. And that's a movable shape.
Movable
so you
shape.
can-
No open strings at all. Yep. And it's C, so no sharps or flats.
Yep. And that's the major scale that we were singing. Ba, 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 ba,
Right.
ba, 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 ba.
So here's where the game, if you've got another guitar player in hand, really gets fun. Another guitar player in hand.
At hand,
At hand, yeah.
in your pocket.
Yeah, he'd be an awfully small guitar player.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is really fun. If I play an interval and you guess it, and now you can't sing. You have to sing in your head, and you just have to sort of know what it is.
Yeah.
So if I were to do this, and I'll start with melodic intervals, which means one note is played after the other, as opposed to stacked or harmonic intervals. So this would be a harmonic interval. I'm not going to do that. I'm
Yep.
going to do this.
Okay.
And you're going to say that is a...
Fourth,
Yeah.
because ba, ba, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And that was going on in my head really quick. Ba, da, da, da.
Right. Yeah. And there might be a few songs. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So that's a great trick too. You know, if you happen to hear those sorts of things and know, oh, it's that one.
Yeah.
So, okay, your turn.
Okay. So same root, we'll still use that C. What is this?
Seventh.
Yeah. What kind?
Major seventh.
Major seventh, yeah.
Yep.
Because da, 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 da.
Yeah. The seventh is always almost there. Right? Like it's you want to hear that, you know, but you're not.
Yep, yep, yep.
And it's frustrating. There's a frustrating aspect of that. So, okay.
Major third.
Yep.
Da-dum, da-dum. And the minor would be da-da, like that.
Right. Okay.
So how about now that we have this concept of intervals and all that, I'm going to play, still within that C as a root, I'm going to play a short theme within these notes. You're not going to look at it. You're going to try to think, okay, the first note, what is it? And where are the other notes according to that, and try to replicate what I'm going to play.
Without looking at your hand.
Without looking.
And without singing. Can I sing?
You can sing mentally,
Okay.
but you will know that everything will be one of these notes, okay?
Okay.
So you can think about it. And I can replay it if you want, but when you're ready, let's see if you have it.
So,
That is great. So tell me, what is going on in your mind? Can you like dissect the thought process there?
okay, so obviously listened to it, and then immediately I went, oh, you know, you're starting on the seventh, and then I felt the need before I played it to get my head around the position again, just kind of quickly, so that I think the reason I did that was mostly because of fingering, right? Like I wanted to just center myself in the area on the guitar, and so I played the scale real quick, and that served also as a double check. Oh yeah, he was starting on the seventh.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't go to the root, And then from there, it was just a matter of, well, 7, 7, 6, 5, 5, 1.
Yeah.
And that's been ingrained enough that that worked.
Yeah. Yeah. And that process, obviously this is a video, it's kind of quick, but the process itself of working on these things is a daily thing. You do, 5-10 minutes of your training every day.
Sure, whether you have your guitar or not.
Exactly.
You're listening in the car and you hear a melody and can you, here's kind of a funny story. So years ago, and many people can probably relate to this, I had this old truck that when you open the door with the keys in, some cars beep.
Yep.
Some cars, have this like, ding, 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 weird song or whatever. This one just had like a
major 7th, 6th.
Right. Well, that's actually what I ended up doing. That was a huge tool for your training.
Nice.
Because it was a solid B.
Okay. Okay.
And so I'd open the door and leave my keys in, and then I'd shut it, start the car, and I'd just start humming. And doing that and practicing, and it was actually a way too for me to train my voice because I'm hitting this note well while I'm driving around. So you can do it,
everywhere.
Pick some noise that is commonly occurring in your life and put a pitch to it and practice it. So so it's your turn now, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So my ear is used to the C major scale. So I can't remember. Was that it? Da da ba 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 da. So I would play something like not that. I'd play something like that. So what would happen here is exactly what you were doing, except that I missed the first note. But that's okay because that was a good example because as soon as I played that note, I knew where I was according to that note.
Right.
And that's the concept of relative pitch that's really important too.
Right.
Perfect pitch is you hear bop, B flat, which is right. Whoa! But I usually don't have that, but that's perfect pitch. Relative pitch is you hear this and like we've been doing, ba, ba, major third, ba, ba. That's what it is, and you can sing that from ba, ba, major third. That's relative pitch. All that to say that once I have one note, one reference note, I can build the rest. But that's what was happening. I would first start with the notes of the major scale. Ba da ba 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 ba. Find where what you are playing is in relation to all that. But that quickly disappears. Like you're able to recognize the 7th or the 6th right away because you eliminated that step because you've done it enough times. And then there's one additional thing that we haven't talked about is the direction.
Right.
And that's what I was using there. I can't remember what you were doing. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Right, because I started on a lower note.
Yes.
And that's what probably initially made you double take there.
But once I have that initial note, I just follow the line. Like imagine ba ba, that's higher, ba, but it's not too high, ba ba, it's not that, it's ba 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 ba, ba ba. Everything in relation to that original note that I messed up here. But once I had that first one, I could build the rest. Usually I could do that.
Yeah.
So really I feel that there are several steps. The first step is to be comfortable with that major scale, like we were doing. The next step is to start improvising with that major scale, all vocally. Then once you're able to do that, you grab your guitar and you do the same type of work like Chris and I were doing here.
Right. And it's, part of the reason we decided to do this video together is the buddy thing is really powerful with this.
It really is, yeah.
Because there's this, you're automatically sort of being quizzed. You're on the spot immediately when there's another live human being in the room instead of just meandering around. Although that's good too. I had one of my guitar students was practicing, and he realized he had to go blow leaves. Mm-hmm. And so he told me this story that he went out and he heard the pitch of the blower, the leaf blower, and started doing the same sorts of drills. So you can always do things like that. But it really is cool to be able to do it with someone else. Practice this whole thing with another guitar player, a singer or whatever, and go back and forth several times and see if you can stump each other, or see if you can have some victories too.
Absolutely, and that's key. Yeah, interaction and quizzing yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself. Like a little bit every day goes a long way, I think.
You even rhymed there, too.
I did. So if you would want to learn more poetry, you should sign up to Oh, thanks so much for doing this. This was fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for watching this, everyone. And if you want to go further with music theory and ear training and all that kind of stuff, check out my course, Guitar Infusion. I'll leave a link below. I'll reopen it exceptionally. Check it out and subscribe. Thanks so much. See you next time.